members of the EPP, friends and colleagues, many thanks for your warm welcome and many thanks for your hospitality here in Valencia. I'm very happy to be here and hopefully last time as the opposition leader from Germany. We will have our Chancellor elected next Tuesday in Germany's Parliament. The Social Democrats will finalize their vote within their party tonight. And we all hope that we will have their approval tomorrow morning, so the way will be free to elect a new government next week, precisely that time. But until then, you have to make your decisions on the presidency of the EPP today and tomorrow, and that's the reason why I would like to advertise first for our candidate, who is our president, Manfred Weber, and who is the deputy, David McAllister, by the way, who is, as far as I can see, the only dual citizen coming from Germany and from the UK. So if we should have an opportunity to have the UK on board of the presidency of the EPP, please vote for David. This is a good idea. Now, dear colleagues, it's less than 11 months after our successful European elections, and we are again gathering today here in Valencia. A lot has happened in those 11 months. The Russian aggression against Ukraine is continuing, and the death toll among Ukrainians continue to rise. I would like to say the message. Our message will and has to be very clear. If other nations and other countries question the values of national sovereignty and the inviolability of borders, of freedom and of democracy, we will stand even more strongly for these values. And at the same time, a new US president has been elected to the White House, putting our important transatlantic alliance to a test, both in terms of security and defense, but also when it comes to trade and more generally the cohesion of the so-called West. This, dear friends, is why I'm convinced that this is the hour of Europe, more precisely the European Union. The challenges we are faced with surpass our ability to deal with them alone on a national level. For our freedom, for the future of our societies, we have to act together more than ever before in taking common positions and speaking with one voice, especially by organizing our defense in a way that is much more effective and that raises our defense capabilities to a new level. That means we must be pragmatic when it comes to military procurement. And we have to agree on joint development in new projects and ramp up production fast. All this should happen within the framework of NATO, our Western alliance, but we Europeans must also be able to defend ourselves better than in the past. This is not optional. This is a precondition for preserving freedom and peace on our European continent. I know that many of you expect more German leadership than we have seen in the last years, both in the EU and on international level. Next week, as I said, Germany will have a new government. And I tell you, we will and we have to invest a lot of energy more into moving Europe forward. And as I told you in Bucharest last year and in Rotterdam the year before, I'm decided to take more initiatives, to take more time on international affairs and especially on European affairs together with you. And in this respect, I'm very proud to announce that for the first time in more than 60 years, my party, the Christian Democrats in Germany, will have the Foreign Office in our government. In addition to the issue of defense, we are facing other challenges. And, dear colleagues, let's not underestimate them. The US tariffs threaten to plunge the world into a new age of protectionism. Therefore, we must revitalize the conviction that free trade with the world carries benefits for all. Economy and trade are not zero-sum games. More than ever, we should conclude ambitious and comprehensive trade agreements. And I would like to say from this place, full support to you, Ursula, and your Commission, to all your efforts to come to more free trade agreements in the world. Full support from our future German government. And please, we should not overburden these trade agreements with too many other issues that are not directly trade related. Dear friends, this also requires us to set our priorities straight. At the EPP retreat in January in Berlin, we passed a resolution on substantially reducing the bureaucratic burden on businesses. May I come back to that? We have to find a better balance between fighting climate change, which is necessary more than ever, and protecting the environment on the one hand, and avoiding deindustrialization on the other hand in our countries. And dear friends, this is a very real and serious issue. We will not tackle the enormous challenges ahead with a shrinking economy. We should be ambitious in cutting regulation and relying on market-based instruments such as ETS, implemented by the European Union. So, allow me to be very open on that. Let us fight over regulation on all levels. Frankly, when I read that after we are annoying people with fixed bottle caps or beeping cars, now we will ask people to have their cars checked every year instead of every 2 years. Frankly, are we out of minds? Do we absolutely... Do we really make the EU more unpopular with such kinds of regulation? This is all over German media actually in the last few days, and that's the reason why I'm telling you, let's not destroy popular vote for our great European Union and our great European project with such nonsense. The last, but certainly not the least, issue I want to mention is migration. With the Return Directive and other legal changes, we are on the right way. We must drastically decrease the number of irregular migrants arriving in our countries. And if those numbers remain high, we have to discuss additional measures. Laws can be changed, and we should not be afraid of this if necessary. Dear friends, the EPP now today is the strongest political force in Europe, in the Council, in the European Parliament, and in the Commission. That means our leadership is more important than ever before. Let's show this leadership for the entire European Union, for the people in our countries. And from my perspective, in my future government, you can count on us. We will be ready to deliver, and we will be ready. We will be ready to form one of the governments in Germany, which we will be one of the most strongest European supporters you have ever seen from my country. Many thanks and good luck to all of you.
Thank you very much for your words, Mr. Merz, because one of the most rewarding aspects of gatherings like this is the chance to listen many experts, many policymakers, their perspectives, their experience, their insights, make this kind of Congress so valuable. And now it comes my second special time at this Congress, because I give the floor to a man who is a crucial Spanish politician whom Spain needs at this moment. He's our present, he's our future, and I'm sure very soon he will be our next president of Spain. So please welcome, well, he has a little bit, well, a flaw like me. He's from Galicia, so he has a very weird sense of humor, and this is a flaw, but Please welcome with a big round of applause the President of Partido Popular and co-host by this Congress, Alberto Núñez Feijóo.
Muchas gracias. Thank you very much. Muy buenas tardes a todos. Bienvenidos. Bienvenidos a la ciudad de Valencia. Bienvenidos a la comunidad de Valencia. Bienvenidos a una de las naciones más antiguas del mundo. Bienvenidos a España. Disculpad que no haya podido saludaros hasta ahora, pero esto es también el Partido Popular Europeo. El Partido Popular Europeo tiene el compromiso de priorizar a la gente por encima de nosotros mismos, de anteponer sus necesidades a las nuestras. Y hemos de hacerlo siempre. Se empiezan a conocer las consecuencias más dramáticas del apagón que ha sufrido nuestro país en las últimas horas. Y quiero mandar un fuerte abrazo a las familias de las personas fallecidas. Comprenderéis, queridos compañeros, que era mi deber, y estoy seguro de que entendéis el retraso de mi incorporación al Congreso. Querido presidente Manfred, queridos compañeros y compañeras vicepresidentes del Partido Popular Europeo que nos han traído hasta este Congreso. Querida presidenta de la Comisión, presidenta del Parlamento, queridos canciller de Austria, de Alemania. Quiero felicitar a los dos cancilleres. Quiero felicitar a mi colega en la oposición, al canciller alemán. A él le quedan algunos días. Pero como podéis comprobar después de escuchar al canciller alemán, la oposición es un lugar donde se reflexiona, es un lugar donde se aprende, es un lugar donde se hace política útil y por eso el canciller de Alemania hasta ahora en la oposición será el mejor canciller que va a tener Alemania en las próximas décadas. Muchas felicidades, Merz, muchas felicidades. Os quiero agradecer también que hayáis mantenido vuestra presencia en España a pesar del apagón de ayer, a pesar de la incertidumbre generada y a pesar de todo. Os lo agradezco de verdad, de corazón, como español. Gracias. Gracias a todos los primeros ministros. Gracias a los presidentes de gobierno. Gracias a las vicepresidentas y comisarios de la Unión. Muchas gracias por seguir confiando en España. Nos habéis ofrecido ayuda e información y habéis estado a nuestro lado siempre. España se lo merece esta gran nación y sobre todo se lo merecen todos los españoles que ayer, en medio del caos y en medio de la incertidumbre, volvieron a dar una lección de civismo y de ejemplaridad. Estamos orgullosos de todos los españoles, de cómo han reaccionado, de su comportamiento. Decía que en las últimas horas me habéis transmitido vuestro apoyo y vuestra solidaridad, pero también me habéis formulado muchas preguntas. ¿Qué ha pasado? ¿Qué ha ocurrido? ¿Puede volver a repetirse? Me gustaría daros respuestas a esas preguntas, pero no puedo hacerlo. Y no puedo hacerlo porque la información oficial de la que disponemos en este momento no es clarificadora ni contrastada. No obstante, estoy convencido de que todo se sabrá, de que el gobierno español tendrá que ofrecer las explicaciones que le debe a los ciudadanos, pero también que le debe a toda Europa. Y de que saldrán a la luz, nunca mejor dicho, las vulnerabilidades que sí o sí debemos de combatir para que nunca más este país colapse como lo ha hecho en las últimas horas. Por supuesto, insisto, os agradezco vuestra colaboración en esta tarea, porque la participación independiente de las autoridades europeas será clave para saber la verdad. Todos sabemos que lo ocurrido no puede abordarse como una simple anécdota de escasa relevancia. Tiene una enorme gravedad por sí sola y es crítico porque se ha producido en un momento crucial para la Unión Europea y para el continente, en el que no podemos infravalorar la vulnerabilidad que ha quedado al descubierto. Con el reto de la defensa, de la soberanía energética y de la autonomía estratégica ante todos, es crítico saber que ayer se paró la cuarta economía del euro cuando parecía imposible. ¿Quién va a asumir las responsabilidades? Y sobre todo, ¿qué decisiones se van a tomar o se van a reconsiderar para proteger nuestra nación? Uno de nuestros retos colectivos es diseñar una Europa firme, una Europa autónoma, una Europa competitiva. Y me comprometo ante ustedes, ante los primeros ministros europeos, me comprometo ante el primer partido de Europa, el Partido Popular Europeo. Me comprometo como español con el conjunto de los ciudadanos europeos a que vamos a trabajar sin descanso para que España vuelva a ser un país fiable dentro y fuera de nuestras fronteras. Me comprometo a que construiremos una España fuerte para tener una Europa más fuerte. Y por eso os digo, para finalizar otra vez, gracias. Mañana seguiremos trabajando. Hasta mañana. Muchas gracias. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much for your words, Mr. Núñez de Feijóo. And now, ladies and gentlemen, dear delegates, it's now another special moment. It's my privilege to welcome a woman whose remarkable commitment, strong leadership, ambition for Europe's future continue to inspire all of us. I admire her, and join me in giving her a warm and enthusiastic welcome with a big round of applause. Mr. Ursula von der Leyen, the President of the European Commission.
Thank you very much, my dear friends. Dear Manfred, dear EPP family, it's wonderful to be here today, and a very special thank you to you, Alberto Feijóo, for your amazing hospitality. You have organized this incredible Congress at a really important time. And allow me also to say a word to yesterday's events. Yesterday, citizens across Spain and Portugal and parts of France faced an unprecedented power outage. And I would like to commend them for the calm and the civility that they have displayed in the midst of this most challenging blackout. They've shown collective responsibility. They've shown solidarity with the people that suddenly found themselves unable to go home. And let me in particular thank the police, the firefighters, the traffic controllers. In all countries, they've been working under immense pressure to protect the citizens and to maintain the order. Gracias e obrigada a todos. This EPP Congress is a reunion of friends. And I particularly want to pay tribute to my dear friend, Manfred. Manfred, you are known as an outstanding leader. Last summer, it was an honor and it was a pleasure to hit the campaign trail with you. And my friends, look at what we have achieved together. We scored a resounding victory in the European elections. We are by far the largest group in the European Parliament. Roberta's leadership won her a second well-deserved mandate. And we have one of the largest EPP teams ever in the European Commission, and it's great to see so many of you here today. Dear Manfred, you have made EPP strong. And a strong EPP means a strong Europe, so you have my full support to lead us for another term as president of EPP. And let me also thank you for choosing Dolores Montserrat as candidate for the Secretary General. Dear Dolores, thank you for putting so much passion in everything you do. You're a great choice to be the first woman Secretary General of our party. And I think Roberta will agree with me when I say other parties speak of gender balance. We, EPP, we deliver on it. And dear friends, just over a year ago, I stood in front of you in Bucharest to ask for your support. And I remember sharing with you the lesson of my father, that Europe is more than a market. Europe is more than a set of institutions. Europe is more than a union. Europe is our home. And our first mission is to protect the place we call home. It is about prosperity. It is about security. It is about democracy. And this is what we as EPP have promised to the people of Europe. And they have entrusted on us to deliver on this promise because they know leadership that is equivalent with EPP. As we've shown from Donald Tusk in Poland to Kyriakos Mitsotakis in Greece, from Petri Orpo in Finland to Andrej Plenković in Croatia, from Nikos Christodoulides in Cyprus, to Ulf Kristersson in Sweden, from Luis Montenegro in Portugal to Luc Frieden in Luxembourg, from Ivica Silinia in Latvia to Christian Stocker, we just heard him in Austria, from Zelja Skov-Rosen in Bulgaria to Ili Boloyan in Romania, and in a few days, Friedrich Merz in Germany will join us. And my friends, all of you here, from ministers to mayors, from European Parliament to local government, you know the simple truth. With greater power comes greater responsibility. And my friends, today is also the day to say again very clearly, we are willing to take on this responsibility. EPP means leadership, and we will deliver for Europe on all levels. That's our promise. And my friends, our victory last year belongs to all of you. But we also know that election day is never a finish line. It's the moment to hit the ground running. And this is what we've done from day one on. In our difficult times, nothing can be taken for granted. For decades, free trade has been a driver of global prosperity. It has lifted billions out of poverty. and sustained the livelihood of millions of European families. Now, global markets are shaken by the unpredictable tariff policy of the US administration. US tariffs on the rest of the world are at their highest in a century. The IMF issued a stark warning last week, and that is no surprise, because tariffs are like taxes. They hurt consumers and business alike. They affect Wall Street as well as Main Street. Millions of citizens will face higher grocery bills. Medicines will cost more. Transportation will cost more. Inflation will go up. And this is hurting, in particular, the most vulnerable citizens. Business, small and big, suffer from day one. Greater uncertainty, disruption of supply chains, burdensome bureaucracy. My friends, we cannot and we will not allow this to happen. We have to double down on our hallmark policies of open markets, of win-win trade and investment partnership, and of free and fair trade. But in every crisis, and Christian Stocker, you said it, in every crisis there's also an opportunity. Not only is our single market the largest in the world because of its openness to the world that is so much greater than that of the United States and China, but we are also world champion in export to GDP. So our companies need the global markets. And in this moment of crisis, it pays off that Europe is reliable and predictable. We have already the largest network of free trade agreements with 76 countries around the world. Now the world of trade is turning towards us. And Friedrich, you mentioned it. Since last year, we've concluded a new wave of trade deals from Mercosur to Mexico to Switzerland. We're working with India and Indonesia, with the Emirates and Thailand, the Philippines and Malaysia and the Pacific. They all want to deal with us because we are fair, we are reliable, and we play by the rules. So, my friends, let's stay the course, cool-headed and united, because that's who we are. And that's the European way of trade. Let's stick to that. But the key to our prosperity is to put our own house in order and to make business easy right here in Europe. Our single market is a safe harbor for European businesses, a place where they can grow strong before they set sails on global markets. But we've discussed here today, too, the vitality of the single market is held back by too many national barriers, too much fragmentation, too much bureaucracy. And that's why we introduce the now famous omnibuses to simplify and to speed up. I mean, we have so many opportunities, we have to grasp them now. And take just a digital startup in Europe, a digital startup that wants to scale up in the European single market. Instead of having one single rule to deal with across the European Union, this digital startup is facing across all member states over 270 national regulators active in digital networks. This is unbearable. That fragmentation is the key factor why we are falling behind. If we remove all obstacles inside our union, we could boost our own GDP as much as 10%. So, my friend, it's time to break the chains. Europe was once the cradle of innovation. We want to be it again. Let's free up Europe and European innovation. And let's boost again the entrepreneur spirit of Europe. That is the EPP task we have ahead of us now. And we will deliver, my friends. And this is the moment to stand up also, not only for our strength, but also for our values. We don't invade our neighbors, and we don't punish them. On the contrary, there are 12 countries who absolutely want to become members of the European Union. That's round about 150 million people. In Europe, children can go to good schools independent of their parents' income. Controversial debates at universities are welcome. We consider freedom of science and research as fundamental, not only because it is a core value of us, but also because this is how excellence and innovation thrives. And this is why Europe is open to the best and brightest. This is why we will make proposals to help them choose Europe. Because we want scientists and researchers from all over the world to make Europe their home and to make Europe the home of innovation again. That's the moment to act right now, my friends. It's a very special moment to attract the best and the brightest. But now is the moment to act. Choose Europe. And my friends, we must continue to deliver on what matters to the people of Europe. Food security is key to our overall security. And we must always be grateful to our farmers who provide us with quality food every single day. They are the custodians of our land and our most ancient traditions. But we also know that their job is of key strategic importance. So, their hard work must pay off. Farmers deserve a fair income for the food they produce and a level playing field with global competitors. Last year in Bucharest, we discussed to provide them with better incentives, better rewards for protecting nature, and much less administrative burden. And now, my friends, we have to deliver this, we have to get it done. And from the beginning, I have emphasized that migration is a common European challenge that needs a common European answer. We are following a twofold strategy. First, we have to take control of the numbers of illegal arrivals. It is important that migration does not happen at a faster pace than our communities can keep up with. And to be very clear, we will fulfill our international obligations. We've done it in the past, we do it today, we'll do it tomorrow. But it is us, the Europeans, who decide who is coming to Europe and under what circumstances, and not the smugglers and traffickers. Since the start of this year, illegal border crossings have gone down by 30%. And this shows that our engagement with our southern neighbors delivers. And we will continue this work. And second, we have to implement the Migration Pact and Asylum Pact. We have a new body of law that helps us to put our house in order. Let's focus on doing this. And we need better results on return. My friends, it cannot be that only 20% of those who have a negative asylum decision actually leave Europe. This is why we cannot go on like this. It's way too low, the figure, and we cannot explain it to our citizens. We must do better. And this is why last month we proposed new legislation, because being tough on illegal migration allows us to pave the way for much needed labor migration, because Europe should always be open to more talent and more skills. And finally, dear friends, security for Europe also means doing our own defense. The threat posed by Russia will not go away. And we know that the American focus will increasingly shift towards other regions. So there is no doubt peace in Europe requires that we take much greater responsibility for our own defense. And already at our Congress in Bucharest, we discussed to turbocharge our defense industrial capacity. But no one could imagine how much we'd achieve in a short span of a year. Up to 800 billion euros of investment are now there for our common defense. All 27 member states are on board. New defense partnership with Norway and soon with the UK. We've done more as EPP for European defense in a single year than in several decades. The EPP has always been the party of European defense. And today we are the party that is delivering on the European Defense Union, my friends. This was the dream of De Gasperi and Schuman and Adenauer. And now their dream is coming to life. And the people of Europe are massively in favor. But we also see that the far left and the far right have always opposed this idea. And now again from the fringes, some are trying to boycott this European awakening. They say Russia is not a threat, and Europe is not the answer. So let me be very clear. Only a strong Europe can protect peace in our continent. And the far right and the far left are not pro-peace. They are just pro-Putin. And we will not allow this to happen. We all have seen how Putin negotiates. We all have seen how Putin negotiates. Just 2 weeks ago, on Palm Sunday, Putin launched ballistic missiles on people going to church. He has proven time and again that he cannot be trusted, and he can only be deterred. For just and lasting peace, we must continue to stand with Ukraine, with more military and financial support, with more pressure on Russia, and yes, with a clear pathway for Ukraine to join our European Union. And our message to Ukraine is very clear. Your freedom is our freedom. Your security is our security. And your future is in our European Union. And my dear friends, we in EPP stand for a democratic Europe, where the people decide and where they are masters of their own future. This has been our guiding light ever since the EPP was born back in 1976. 50 years ago, come next year. That's when our founders joined forces and laid out the first EPP manifesto. The title was Together for a Europe of Free People. 50 years ago. And this is the aspiration that has guided us for half a century. And it must still guide us today. A Europe of free people, free to choose our path, free from fear and oppression, free to shape our European home. That is the soul of the EPP. It was our first motto. It remains our mission and our moral duty. So long live the European People's Party and long live Europe. Thank you so much.
After the awards, thank you very much, Mr. von der Leyen, Ms. von der Leyen. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor and my pleasure to welcome the President of the European Parliament. Her leadership, her vision, and her dedication are truly inspiring. So please, let's welcome with a big round of applause, but louder than me, Miss Roberta Metsola.
Buenas tardes. Querido Alberto, antes de empezar te agradezco tu coraje, tu amistad y tu liderazgo. Muchas gracias por recibirnos en la hermosa ciudad de Valencia. Yo estaba en España cuando se produjeron las terribles inundaciones del pasado mes de octubre. Y aunque he vuelto a tu país desde entonces, es realmente muy especial para mí estar hoy aquí y poder expresar mi solidaridad en persona. Gracias a nuestros colegas del Partido Popular, a mi gran amiga Dolores y a Esteban, Manfred y a todos los que han dedicado su tiempo, dedicación y esfuerzo a la organización del Congreso de este año. Thank you to you, Manfred, and to all the EPP team for bringing us here today. Now, dear friends, listening to Friedrich Merz just now, I was taken back to my first EPP Congress in Berlin in 2001. I was a student then, campaigning for my country to join the European Union, arguing over amendments to resolutions in late-night hotel corridors. It feels like a lifetime ago, but the passion, the drive that I first witnessed then, I can still see shining here today in all of you and in all the young people who are here today at their first EPP Congress. I can tell you now, this will not be your last. These events are personal to me. This political family is personal for me. Since those days in Berlin, we have won together, we have changed together, and we have lost, come back, and we have stuck together. And throughout all that, we have never lost track of our raison d'être, of our drive to make Europe stronger, to protect our way of life, to stand up for our families, for our farmers and our industry. When Europe asks questions of us, when we stand at these cliched metaphorical crossroads, it is within our values that we find the answers. That is what we do. That is the basis of our political culture: pragmatic, studied, moderate, principle-based leadership. That is what the EPP taught me. That is what I see personified in Manfred Weber. Dear Manfred, thank you for your drive, for your commitment, your leadership, and for always being there for all of us, no matter how difficult the moment became. Thank you, Manfred. That is what I see in Ursula von der Leyen and our commissioners, who over the years, dear Ursula, you have navigated impossible geopolitical challenges, but you've done it with strength, with grace, and with purpose. Thank you for standing up for us and for Europe. That is what I see every day in our MEPs, who work so hard to deliver a new Europe for our citizens. So to all my colleagues, I thank you. I am so proud and so grateful to be part of our parliament with all of you, also many of you here today. We had a slogan once that was, "We believe in people." And that really struck with me, because that is at the heart of what we do. It is what I want to say to all those of you who are here from candidate countries, from Ukraine, from the Western Balkans, from Moldova, from Georgia. I know what these congresses mean to all of you in particular, because that is what they meant to me not so long ago. We must be future-driven. There is only one way, and that is forward and together. With the new Parliament, the new Commission, and with our Prime Ministers in the European Council, there is no excuse for us not to deliver. Because the renaissance of Europe is really within our grasp. We just need the resolve, the political courage to make these changes, to show that we are a continent on the rise, to prove that we are open for business, for ideas, for new ways to tackle old problems. This is how we defy the cynics and merchants of gloom. This is how we will keep beating back against those who have already written Europe's obituary. The first step is to understand what happened in the last European elections in June. People went back to basics when they voted. Number one, people want economic security. They want a job, they want a chance to grow and scale up their business, a fair chance to get onto the housing ladder that becomes more and more elusive every year, particularly for younger people. Number two, people want systems that work, that simplify, not complicate, systems they understand, that give them the freedom to live their lives as they choose, and that makes a real difference to them. Number three, people want safety and security. They want their children to be able to walk in the street without fear. This is the kind of peace of mind that would allow them to sleep a little bit easier. I can tell you, as a mother of 4 children, that is what I would like to. It is not too much to ask, and it is not too much to deliver. And I can assure you that in the European Parliament, and with all the MEPs who are here today, we are committed to getting it right during this legislature. Over the past months, since the Parliament voted for the new Commission, we have listened, we have prepared, and we have responded. For years, we have heard the same old story, that Europe is too slow, Europe is too divided, Europe is too bureaucratic. But my friends, I'm here to tell you that I know that Europe is strong, Europe is proud, and Europe will grow from strength to strength. Just look at how far we came on our collective security and defense. It is our family that is leading the way here. Poland, Latvia, Greece, Finland, Romania. These are the EU countries investing the largest share of their GDP into strengthening our security structures. Because this isn't just about reacting when a crisis erupts. It is about having the foresight and the courage to take the kind of measures needed to prevent it from happening. Russia's illegal war on Ukraine brought that horrifically home to us. We cannot waver in our support. We must keep standing with our friends in Ukraine until a just and lasting peace is secured. Not out of altruism, but out of a duty to keep our people safe, out of our responsibility to make sure that we help secure a real peace, peace with justice, peace with dignity, peace with integrity, and based on the ultimate principle of nothing about Ukraine without Ukraine. From an economic standpoint, we are also listening. Over the past few months, I have met with business owners from all walks of life, from big industrial giants to smaller family-run enterprises. They all say the same thing. They just want a chance to compete. And here, Europe's answer should be clear, unambiguous, and resolute. We have your back. We will stand up for our businesses, our industry, and our families. This is what the European Parliament is doing. Not just with words, but with action. Earlier this month, we voted to postpone the dates of application of certain reporting requirements, the so-called stop the clock mechanism. We did this in record time. It is going to give businesses so much needed breathing space, less time buried in paperwork, more time turning ideas into action. Now, our simplification agenda and actions are, of course, very good first steps. But now comes the difficult part, because the challenge isn't only about streamlining regulations. It is about making sure our commitments match people's expectations. It is about having the courage to go beyond papering over the cracks. Last year, we saw the highest voter turnout in the European elections in 30 years. If there's one thing that I learned as I saw the results coming in, is that people do care, that people believe in Europe, that they want to believe that this union of ours still has purpose, direction, and the power to improve their lives. And it is up to us to give them that reason, to show them that the values we talk so often about aren't just lofty ideas in old treaties or easy sound bites, but that it is precisely because of them that we are able to make people's lives easier, better, fairer, safer, even if that means taking the painful decisions that we know are necessary. That is what leadership demands and what this moment calls for. Dear friends, what Europe stands for, what we symbolize in Europe and across the world, matters more than ever. Our European way will deliver. Yes, we might be a little bit more boring than some of our counterparts. Our systems may be a little bit more predictable. But in politics and in achieving results, that is not a bad thing. We are a work in progress. The idea that is Europe is not perfect, but we have shown what we can do. We have shown that we can find the political will to tackle generational issues that have kept our union from reaching its full potential. And we will do that again with our competitiveness drive, our simplification agenda, and our urgent need to deliver on security and defense. Our work must speak to people's lived realities, including the too many forgotten voters out there, to the young people who feel disillusioned with politics and consume news through a different lens, to the elderly who struggle with the pace of change and who still feel left behind, to mid-income Europeans for whom it is still too hard to reach the end of the month. Because being the party of this organization, being part of the People's Party means being on their side, always. It is also time to move forward with real integration in our defense, energy, telecoms, and financial markets. Because in a world of growing geopolitical rivals and economic giants focused on their own people, industries, and businesses, we need to recognize that while individually we are small, together we are a force to be reckoned with. Just look at the United States response. Now, I do not want to be misinterpreted. I will always, always stand for free and fair trade. Tariffs benefit no one. But I think it is important to recognize that we have managed to send a strong and united message and underlined that the less barriers we create, the more prosperous our peoples will be. So, of course, Europe will act to protect its workforce and defend its interests. Of course, what we are really going forward and what we really need to go forward is more dialogue and not more tension. That is what we must use this 90-day pause for. We can create a win-win for all. The same applies in the context of forging a new, closer relationship with allies like the United Kingdom and Canada. Spain and Portugal's ties to Latin America give Europe a unique ability to speak to the world and listen in a manner that enables common understanding and protects multilateralism. The times we are living in today mean that we need to get used to doing things differently, to adapting, to challenging perceptions. So let us not be afraid to take the next steps that we know are necessary. Progress doesn't wait for politicians to feel ready. It doesn't wait for comfort zones to catch up. One person described the age we are living in now, with artificial intelligence in particular, as akin to the revolution that took place in the 19th century, when the world moved from an economy based on agriculture to one based on industry. It is that big, that transformative, and that critical. And it's already happening. So we must be ready to face the inevitable pressure in the confrontation between autocratic AI and democratic AI. I want Europe to lead in this space, and I know that means giving our businesses, our researchers, our engineers, our coders, and our patent holders the room and the support that they need to compete, to innovate, and to grow. Dear friends, I will conclude by thinking back to last weekend. Like many of you, I had the honor of being in Rome last Saturday to attend the funeral of His Holiness Pope Francis. In remembering his extraordinary life and legacy, I would like to quote one of his most powerful teachings. If we want security, let us give security. If we want life, let us give life. If we want opportunities, let us provide opportunities. The yardstick we use for others will be the yardstick which time will use for us. Let that be our guide. Gracias, España. Viva Europa.